tell them you surf in Louisiana. You can't surf in Louisiana. Everybody says it.
My surfing experience in Louisiana was, first off, you really didn't know there was surf here.
I'm Keegan. I own Poncha Surf Club in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm born and raised in the dirty, dirty South. Poncha was basically founded as a joke about surfing the lake. And as time went on, we realized really quickly that we should probably take this more seriously because there's not a head to the surf community or someone to facilitate things anymore. Because it's more of a surf club than a surf shop, you can meet us at the beach. Every now and then we'll throw in a joke on a t-shirt or something like that just to keep it real. But I actually got into surfing because I would take trips to Pensacola when I was a kid and I saw dudes surfing. At the time, the surf shop had already closed. I just ended up having to go on trips all the time. But then I found the lake and I realized that could break, and I actually learned how to surf on the lake. So what's unique about Louisiana is that we have to travel at least 2 hours to waves, whereas with Lake Pontchartrain we only have to travel 15-20 minutes. Wes was texting me asking me if I had cold water wax, and I was like, dude, it's not even cold in the water. No. It could be 30 degrees and I'm frothing, straight up frothing. Pontchartrain Beach used to be a old amusement park years ago, and they knocked everything down in the 80s and ended up just leaving it abandoned.
At the beach, at the train, Pontchartrain Beach. You'll find a real afternoon with every sensation.
Pontchartrain Amusement Park tonight. This morning there was scattered looting when the park closed.
As you can see, demolition has already begun. While Pontchartrain Beach Amusement Park may be closing, its fond memory will remain.
Pontchartrain Beach is just really historic, so it's just really cool to step on those grounds and you can feel the history. See that one barrel over there? Oh my god. That's crazy, dude. Woke up in the morning. It's an oasis in New Orleans. New Orleans doesn't have beaches, and it's crazy to find a beach in New Orleans and people try to keep you out of it. Oh, here we go. Big boy. Just gotta get out there. A nice ride. Just Pontchartrain Beach is it's freaking awesome. I don't know what to say about it. It's just so good. When you get out there, you'll see it.
Laughs it off when it ain't that funny.
Lake is, at its deepest places about 20 feet deep, you know? I mean, that's on average. With the wind swell, there's really no time for it to build and to come out of deep water. When it hits land, it's basically the same size that it was in open water. It's just throwing itself over. Poncha is a healing place. When I first started it, I was in a pretty dark place, and as it's gone on, I've gotten healthier, and Poncha has definitely helped me. Being around a bunch of happy people, like stoked people, I really feel like the spirit in that is like super heavy, you know? That the whole purpose is just to bring the community together again, like it used to be in the 70s.
Pulled up on the beach, and a couple of guys were out there and swimming, and I started paddling out. He says, "You can't surf on Grand Isle." I said, "Why not?" I got out there, caught a couple of waves, and probably surfed down there, and probably for, I don't know, 15 years, I guess. All right, you ready? I'm Billy Hingle from Point La Hache. I got into surfing probably in early part of '64. Went down to Daytona Beach for the first time, and luckily caught a wave, and that was it. I was hooked for a long time. I don't know how in the world I ever thought about surfing, but I'm glad I did.
Billy Hingle sent us an email one day, and he was like, "The history you have on your website is all wrong."
Well, it started out, I think you put something on
On our
internet
website, yeah.
about so-and-so started surfing in the 70s, and that's what, oh no, I couldn't let that go.
I know.
I could get in there. That's my claim to fame.
It is.
Right.
And so I email him back, and I'm like, "Can you please elaborate?" He sends back this full story about how he was the first person to ever surf Grand Isle in the 60s.
You know, Pensacola, that was kind of far. In Mississippi, the Mississippi Gulf Coast is flat. I looked at Grand Isle on the map and thought I'd never get down there. You know, from Point La Hache, that was about a 3-hour drive.
Driving to Grand Isle is like driving to the end of the world. If there's an east wind, there's bound to be water on the road, because literally you're driving through marshland the last half of the journey. During the winter, you need like a southwest or southeast flow, and then you have a cold front that pushes through, and you better hope that that cold front pushes through like either early in the morning, or you really hope that it pushes through in the middle of the day or something like that, so everything just happens during the daytime. Last year, every single cold front came through at night, so by the morning everything was blown out. But that's the thing about the Gulf, it turns on when it wants to turn on, and then it turns off.
You know, it's a feeling you get when you catch that wave and you got it, and you do your bottom turn and you do what you want to do. Man, it's a feeling. You know, it's hard to explain to a guy that don't surf.
We've been having a good day out here on Birch Lane, down near the end of Grand Isle. It's been about waist high and getting some rips in, Dougie.
was in the pass one day by myself, and man, it was beautiful, like 4 feet, and a van pulled up, and just when they pulled up, I caught a wave, and it up and down 3 or 4 times, and I kicked out and brought the wall outside the car. Yes, yes, yes. Man, my head was that big, you know, somebody watching.
There's an extreme contrast in Grand Isle from like people in our community as opposed to like the people who live there. A lot of them have been living there their whole lives, and then we just come in and they feel like we're infiltrating. And if I could say anything to them, I'd be like, no, like we're just trying to appreciate what you have and like respect that.
When some bright figure came and stripped me down to the skin.
Everyone just having a fun time pulling into barrels, even though they were like closeouts. Really, it was just so much fun because everybody was having fun, you know. And I feel like that's the spirit of like Louisiana surfing. It's just freaking have fun, dude.
Waiting on a chemical line to take me in, to show me that it's just balance.
Grand Isle was, I don't know, Grand Isle had a special spot in my heart, I guess. You know, going there for the first time and finding surf and, you know, actually riding surf. Oh, it was a kick. That was the spot. That was the only spot.
So right now we're gonna go pick up a board from Shane. It's a board that he has shaped over the course of a year, shaped and glassed because of all the humidity. But we started on this project about a year ago, and we're just going to get it right now, and it's gonna be a big unveiling party. Oh yeah, watch me ding it the first thing.
Yeah, that's what when I do build a shape in bay area, it's gonna have 4-foot doors. I have banged more boards on that damn door than I can count. My name's Shane Mckerr. I'm a board builder. I live in St. Francisville, Louisiana, probably about 3 hours from any coast. Live on a golf course, and I get a lot of strange looks with surfboards out in my yard from these golfer guys, but I proceed on anyway.
God, this thing is so big.
Just watching you surf, you know, and seeing how you like the longboards and the logs, I tried to kind of keep it true to that, but you do have a foot less length on it.
Yeah,
But it definitely has a longboard vibe to it. It's gonna have some momentum, and I glossed it heavy, man. I had an Instagram account really just to document my progress. I see Poncha Surf on there, and he's making a comment about surfing offshore by the oil rigs, and I'm like, wait, he's in Louisiana. So I reached out to him by DM. I said, hey man, this is Shane. I live in Louisiana too. Next time you go surf those rigs, let me know. I'd like to hook up with you. And that's kind of how it began. And he realized I shaped boards, and then the relationship began. Just one stoked surfer to another in a place where there's not many of us. I'm gonna break out the first board. This was supposed to be the board that I shaped for him. So I had these cool Lopez rocker boards, and I said, man, I got an 8.4 I think would work for you. I rough sketched an outline on the board and sent him some pictures. He's like, man, that's cool. He comes up, and I show him the shape, and he liked it. Well, then he walks into this room, and I have all these options here, and he came over here and saw it and did not like it, but he saw this guy up in the rack. And his eyes got about this big, and he goes, what about this board? He said, what's this thing with the orange stringers about? This was the original. during our process, we would just bounce things out of each other. We decided on a diamond tail, and I got to looking at it, and I said, I think we should put a rolling V in it, because that'll give you a little bit of a longboard feel, but it'll also make the board turn. And it was a cool process. Over a couple hour period, we went from a rough blank to a very interesting board that I think will really suit his needs. And it doesn't look like anything else anybody's shaped. Surfing has been a big source of happiness for my life. So to shape a board for somebody and find out what they want and to realize that, you know, this is going to stoke this guy out is exciting. I grew up in Louisiana until I was 8 years old. In 4th grade, we moved to Pensacola. And this was in the mid-70s, so skateboarding was coming out. Jerry Lopez was on Wide World of Sports, and the surf skate culture from the mid-70s is what really hooked me in it. And even though I moved back here, I never got out of it. By the time I got into shaping, I was in my 50s. I had a bad motorcycle accident in 2010, and I could no longer pop up on shortboards. And so that was my motivation, is I want to shape boards I can surf. I got to give myself a better advantage here to continue surfing, or it's over. I think how I had to learn it was the best way. It was more like they did in the 60s and 70s, just figure it out.
Well,
you
and
know?
I saw Billy's board, and I was like, how did he even figure this out?
Yeah.
I had the only board for probably 2 years, I guess. Yeah, after Katrina, I had it in my basement, and I brought it upstairs. And a few days later, I went up there, it was gone. I said, what in the world? Somebody stole my board. And I looked next door, they had a bunch of little kids over there, they had it on the rocks. And they were walking, it's all beat up. It's all full of holes on the other side. But I went over there and got it. I'll keep it on here, look up there and reminisce every now and then. You know, I was riding a longboard, and it was hard to maneuver in that, and I started thinking about, you know, we were into nose riding back then, and the V bottom was, it was good for turning and that, and I got the idea to try to build my own.
How do you get this thing up here? You slide it all the way to the end?
Yeah, pull it down right there, it'll probably come out. There you go.
Oh, I don't want to.
Swing that. Swing the nose further to the left.
All right.
Where it goes up in the top.
Oh, this rafter's bigger.
There you go.
Let me flip it so I can get the fin.
Oh, the fin. Yeah, I'll put the fin in. You gotta take the fin out, maybe. Oh, can you flip it? Yeah, it'd be better yet.
Oh my God. You're a little short, huh? A little short.
Now you got it. You got help.
All right, now the thing's gonna.
Push the nose all the way to the left. Now you got it.
Oh wait, that's my finger.
Don't forget, now you gotta get it back up there.
I know. There we go. Oh wow. That's insane.
I bought a blank, you know, like 3 or 4 inches thick and probably 10 feet long, and just in a back bedroom, shaped it out, had styrofoam from one end to the other, glassed it and stunk up the whole house with fiberglass. You know, naturally it rode better than any other board in the world because I shaped it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can make one now. I'd make a good board now.
Yeah. Well, luckily there's a guy in St. Francisville that does it. We could probably all make a
Make
board.
surfboards?
Yeah.
St. Francisville?
Yeah.
What is that about?
I know. He's in
a
the
surfer?
documentary too. That's the guy that's shaping that board for me.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
St. Francisville. While we were surfing, we was always trying to find a better break.
Open the door. Come on in. 375 and Mr. Strong open the door.
I know.
Need a receipt?
No, I'm good.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you too.
And I looked at a map about the deepest spot along the Gulf Coast and came up with Fouchon. You might have maybe a slight offshore wind and a big storm will make up in the Gulf, which don't happen very often.
Tropical depression in the Gulf of Mexico. That'll be heading towards Louisiana and Mississippi.
The storm is currently swirling in the Gulf of Mexico.
Could become Tropical Storm Olga.
Like the first time we went out, we knew where the beach was, and there was a road that went a little ways, and then they had a bayou that looked like it went straight to the beach. We put the surfboards in and paddled for about an hour. We thought we'd never get there. And finally we could hear the surf. I said, oh man, we get close. Sure enough, went out on the beach and it was good. It was probably 4 feet, you know, and a nice wave. So it was a kick.
Got waves!
I watched you stumbling along the shoulder.
It hit us in such a way that it pushed swell over deep, deep water and hitting those sandbars. Bro.
Swaying through liquid dreams and filling up those.
For me to go to Pensacola, there was a hierarchy, and I wasn't a good enough surfer or in their clique to get the waves. At Fouchon, you didn't get that. You got, come on in, bro, get you a wave.
I could not take my eyes off of your foreign face. You redefine the human race,
Our aim is to try to reopen some of these beaches or try to help in some way, you know, just try to raise awareness because, like, we have too much fun out there and we don't want to do it illegally.
sifting through every pretty word of English I have ever known.
I think what's different is we have a laissez le bon temps rouler kind of attitude, like just let the freaking good times roll and don't let anything get in the way of it.
Burning red light glow.